Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health System's Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
And welcome back to Bayou Time Sports. Martin Falls here with the coach, Kyle Lasang, for the Edie White Cardinals. And Coach, first of all, congratulations. Have you come down to earth yet?
Walked into the office this morning, still kind of just riding on that cloud, just thinking, man, did that really just happen? You know, and it's kind of the consensus among the coaching staff. You wake up on Saturday morning and go, man, did we really win that football game? And kind of came down once you get back to work and starting answering questions and trying to prep for a state championship game. But, man, it was just a great weekend. It was a great Friday night, great atmosphere.
And you see the highlights were running behind us on the screen, and you see the cheerleaders, and you feel the crowd. I mean, packed house all the way around the stadium.
Yeah.
And that's something when you're coaching that you really don't get to appreciate because you were so locked in. But I get it. Because I remember Cam Morvaughn being locked in at Vanderbilt. You're not really seeing all that going behind you. But at some points, Coach, you had to hear it.
You did hear it. You know, and one of the things I do, and this is just for my enjoyment, I go back to the film, I watch the film. I'm not necessarily watching the game action. I'm watching the crowd, I'm watching the sideline, I'm watching the reactions to the people there, just to kind of give myself a feel for what really happened Friday night. And, you know, the Ethan Lee pick at the end of the game, you just listen to the noise level at that time, and you kind of get an appreciation for how packed the stadium was, how excited they were, how many people were there. You know, you kind of glance back every now and then, you don't see an empty seat, but then you get a chance to see around the field, people standing around the field, a lot of alumni, just great environment.
You know, you came to last week's Sports on the Bayou, and me and Bobby Hebert were talking after the show, and he said, Mark, what you really think? He said, St. Thomas More, they loaded every year. I said, Bobby, have you seen Edie White play? He said, no. I said, they're disciplined, their gap assignments are perfect, they're coachable, very coachable. Y'all got a good game plan. Got 4 guys in the secondary that can run a 4-5. I said, if they do everything with no turnovers, they're going to win this game. He said, you really think that? I said, they're going to win it.
Right.
Y'all played a perfect game.
You know, I think we talked about it on Sports on the Bayou last week. You know, what the game plan was. It's not going to be a secret. It's our game plan every week, and not to turn the ball over was really crucial. We didn't have penalties. We put ourselves in good positions. You know, having some athletes on defense that can run a little bit also puts you in a good position defensively. We thought we had some things that we could take advantage of, and we knew they were going to be a really good football team, but you just can't make mistakes. Honestly, I didn't think we played our best football against Parkview. I thought if we play like we did against Parkview, we're probably not going to win this game. But we didn't make mistakes. That's a credit to the kids, man. They're so easy to coach. You know, I say this all the time to my guys, just making fun. Can you believe that they pay us to do this? Right. It's just so enjoyable. Kids are responding. Of course, when you win, when you're undefeated, they are a little more focused, a little more locked in, maybe believe a little more, maybe follow instructions a little better, maybe believe that the coaches know what they're talking about. And that's just been a great combination for us. You know, but you got to start with the senior class. Senior class buying into this. And believing that we could be that good. And here we are in a state championship game.
You know, we're going to go to it in another segment, but behind us as it runs, and you're talking to the players after the game, and in the next segment I'm going to actually let people hear the speech. But I was so impressed because also, as I've talked to some of my neighbors in Houma yesterday and even this morning, there's a genuine pulling for Edie White. Now, these are Vanderbilt parents and players. But I think the wish was, could Vanderbilt end up playing Edie White in the finals? It didn't happen.
Right.
But now, they're definitely pulling for you guys, but that is great to see.
I think it's awesome. I think, you know, we all know, Martin, that Vanderbilt and Edie White rivalry is a bitter rivalry when you're in high school, and then we all graduate and we all go to college together. We're best buddies, you know, and I think that's just It's the environment of the communities that we live in. If it was reversed, Edie White would be there supporting Vanderbilt. I don't think there's any difference. And we're brother schools. We're brother schools. We share the same philosophies.
Right.
There's so many similarities between the types of kids that we have at our schools and the parents that support programs that I'm not surprised that you say that. I'm happy about that because I think we need all the support we can get going and playing in the state championship. Of course, we all talked about being able to play Vanderbilt in the state championship. It didn't happen, but we hope to represent our community as well.
And to the victor goes the spoils. I remember when Cam Morvaughn, who was a big Edie White football player, and Joe Fake, Mr. Edie White, I think might have been last time they won a state championship was Joe Fake.
Yeah.
Well, they coached us at Vanderbilt. We were always taught, man, Edie White, we got to beat them. They're no good, this and that. And players, one time we saw all the coaches at Vanderbilt socializing with the coaches at Edie White. We figured out something ain't quite right here. Motivation.
You found out the truth.
Right.
Those relationships that we have between coaches and ex-coaches, and man, I'll go all the way to even Don Schwab when Don was coaching, and I was playing against his son, and even way back when, and that's all everybody wanted to talk about. But in the end, all good friends.
And it used to be way back when you only had to wait a week to get to the final game. Now you got to wait 2 weeks. And Coach, I guess that's good and bad. It's good because you get to prepare a lot, you get to do a lot of things, but it's bad because it'll fry your nerves, won't it?
Man, if today's any indication, I don't know if I'm gonna make it for 2 weeks, man. There's been so many questions about the game and tickets and all this other stuff,
Right.
But as a coach, I think it's an advantage. I like the bye week. We had a bye week the first week of the playoffs because we finished number 1 in the power rankings. So we treated that bye week to get healthy, work on some fundamentals. So from a coaching standpoint, I think it's an advantage. Get some kids healthy. We got some illness going around schools.
Y'all had the flu.
We had the flu rolling around. I probably had 4 or 5 kids email me today that they can't make practice. So today we're going to do a little film, and then we'll go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, do some fundamental stuff. But it gives you a little more time to prepare, and it worked out well the first time we did it. So I think it's an advantage.
As I was watching, when we came back after the game, and I'm looking at the highlights of Vanderbilt and U-High, they got some talented people on that team. But you know what? So does Edie White.
Right.
And it's going to be a dogfight.
I hope so. I know they're talented, and we've talked about the talents of our opponents. We talked about Walker Howard last week and how talented St. Thomas More was, but our kids just are not flustered by that. It's great. It's a great trait to have as a player that you kind of block out all this noise, all the people talking about who's going to win and how big the gap's going to be and how many D1 players they have and those kinds of things. And man, let's just go play. That's our mentality. That's our kids' mentality. And I think it really starts defensively. We just are so aggressive defensively that it kind of rubs off.
But it showed me, and I was talking to Harry McCullough yesterday. We were talking on the side of the street, and he goes, "Man, Edie White is that good?" I said, "You got to see him in person.
Right.
The film doesn't do him justice.
Right.
And they're smart, and they will tattoo you.
Right.
They will hit you, hit you hard, and maybe you should have some D1 players off that team."
I think everybody looks at D1 players, and the first thing they want to say is, "How tall are you? How much do you weigh?" And then maybe we don't
They
fit
don't
that.
measure the heart.
We don't fit that profile, maybe.
Right.
But man, Martin, you were there. You saw in the second half our O-line just take over the football game, just physically take over the game. And I don't know how many D1 O-linemen we have, but I know that changed it changed the whole momentum of the game in the second half when we took over offensively. Defensively, we just fly around. You see that. We fly around the ball. We get to the football. Had some big plays defensively, kind of pressure on a punt, on a quick punt.
Coach Rebo was there. He was watching pretty hard.
And look, I think we got some guys that can play at nickels. I don't know if you saw, but there was a coach from Ole Miss there. Was a coach from Clemson there. Right. They weren't on our sideline. You know, they were staying
Maybe
at
they
St.
should have
Thomas
been.
more. Maybe they should have been.
But I noticed y'all, you're right, y'all controlled the line of scrimmage. I made a comment on the sideline, if y'all keep running like that, y'all going to wear them out.
Right.
And that's what took place. But Walker Howard, everybody, and if you're an Eddie White fan, you got to admit, you wanted to see what this kid was all about.
Of course.
I wanted to see what he was about. Y'all kept him guessing all night and running for his life.
Well, you know, I think, you know, defensively we can do that. We do that to some people. I think we're better defensively than a lot of their opponents that they had faced. And look, Walker's going to be a great college football player. Mm-hmm. But when you're not accustomed to that every week, maybe that's to our advantage. And I say this all the time. We said this a lot. Man, people don't want to play defense anymore. They want to see how many points they can score. They put all our athletes on offense, and we're just going to outscore you. And that's not really our philosophy.
Let's start breaking down the film. You high, obviously talented. Yeah. But I know you're looking for that angle.
Yeah, well, we're going to try to find something. I don't know what it is yet. Yeah. Hadn't really seen a lot of film. I talked to their coach today. I know he's concerned about some of the things we do. So, you know, I hope it's just going to be a great atmosphere.
And when you find it, I'm sure you're not going to put it on HTV either.
We're not. I'm not going to tell you either. You're not going to know. We're going to put it in a game plan, right. And then we're going to go off of that. You know, and I got to say this. At halftime, we went into halftime, and Coach Grant Chasson had identified like 3 things that he thought we could be successful with in the second half, and that's all we did in the second half. We ran 3 plays in the second half offensively, just because he knew it was going to be successful. And it was some things that we haven't done all year, some new things that we put in that we practice occasionally. But halftime was a great adjustment offensively. Defensively, they had scored 7 points in the first half. There wasn't a whole lot to adjust on defense, but just great halftime adjustments.
You know, when we come back in the next segment, I want to talk about having that attitude sometimes. You could see high school kids, when they get in a big game like this, they can't function. Not on Eddie White. Yeah. They sort of embrace that kind of pressure.
I think so. And it's always been that way. And it's just maybe that's the culture of the program. Maybe they just grow up feeling that way.
Culture of the underdog too. If nobody's writing about you, you got something to prove.
That's right, man. I always say I'd rather be the underdog than the favorite, because what do you have to lose? And we're gonna have that again this week.
There's only one problem. Y'all not gonna be the underdog. I think a lot of people took notice.
Well, I hope so. I hope so.
A lot of people
it should be a really competitive football game. I know they're good.
Coach, one thing I've always loved about, you know, when you go to Eddie White, or you go to Vanderbilt, or you go to St. Thomas More, we did a feature on 2 of their special kids years ago. Y'all had a player that was on the bench. Matter of fact, he made it a point to tell me he watches our channel a lot. I got to know him, but when I saw him leading the team in the cheer before you got to the team, I'm going, there's something special going on here.
Absolutely. Well, actually, Cam Stibe is his name. He's a coach. We call him coach. He comes in whatever group performed the best the previous week, he's the coach of that group, he says. So if the running backs did well, he's a running back coach. He takes credit. But, he comes to practice every day, sitting on the bench, and just great kid, and gets our kids fired up and in the huddle. But he's there every day, every single day.
And I was listening, and he started to chant bird food, and I'm going, that's pretty cool. Who came up with that?
Lenny Young's one of our CECP coaches. He came up with that, and kids just responded to it. Man, he's got T-shirts and caps with bird food on it. It's kind of crazy. And then Cam picked up on it, and once Cam gets something in his head, he's going to roll with it, and that's what he did after the game.
You know, and before we roll in, I want people to hear you talk to the team and everything. But during that interview, I was asking you, Coach, you hear that crowd behind you? That means you're going to the finals. And I saw it in your eyes. And at this point, you're walking up to shake hands. I thought the St. Thomas More coaches were very gracious. They were clapping for the Eddie White players.
They were awesome. I know a lot of those guys. And so, very appreciative. In fact, a lot of them called me today and wished us luck.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's the camaraderie after the game. It was a war, but Eddie White to the victor goes the spoils. Now what I want to do, Let's pull up this audio to let people hear what went on.
Oh my God! Awesome, bro.
My dad.
When I said it was a mistake, we looked at it like I was crazy.
Did you hear that behind you, Coach?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it sounds to me like y'all going to the final.
I think so. I think so. I see y'all there. See y'all there. Barfoot! 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 I don't know why you do everything we ask you to do, but I know why I coach this sport. I know why after 3.5 years of med school, I said, that's not what I want to do. I want to coach young men at my alma mater, E.D. White, because there is no better place, there is no greater kids, and there's nobody more deserving of playing in a state championship than you guys. Yeah! I know you get tired of me talking about it, but I'm gonna talk about it. Talk. It was too say, Coach. It was good, Coach. You know why this happened. It's not a secret, right? Nope. No. We all understand what this is about. Yes. And I'll tell you what, if you live your life that way, knowing that the people in your arena are the only people that matter, not the sports writers across the state who not a single one picked you to win. Yeah. Not one. No. Yeah. You know why it doesn't matter? You know why that doesn't matter? Why, Coach? Because they're not in our arena. No. We're going to take our arena in 2 weeks to Lafayette, and we're going to go battle exactly how we have every Friday night of this season. And we're going to do it for our brothers, and we're going to do it for our coaches, and we're going to do it for ourselves, and we're going to do it for our families, because we know number 26 on November 26th is looking down on you. Yeah! This victory's for everybody who has ever been a part of this program. The believers and the doubters. Yeah. The believers and the doubters. Yeah. Guarantee there's 100 kids right here who never doubted for 1 second. Never doubted for 1 second that this was gonna happen one day. And here it is. And here it is. Number 26, we love you. We love you. Let's go win a state championship. Yeah! I know.
That'll give you the chills, and we're going to be featuring E.D. White for the next 2 weeks here on Bayou Time. Stay tuned. Go, Coach.
Thank you.